Welcome to the inaugural season of the State of Ohio Soccer Club. This is the presentation for the players and parent Q&A session, and we're going to talk about here what we are, who is involved, and what we're doing this year, and the cost associated it, and the next steps. So let's go ahead and get started. So first off, the agenda. We're going to talk about, like I said, who. Who are we? Who are the people involved here to put this together, to give your kids this opportunity? What are we going to do? Where's it going to be? And when's it going to be? What the parents' role is going to be in this whole experience? What the players' role is going to be in this whole experience? How much money this is going to cost? What are the next steps? And then we'll take some time at the end to answer any questions and hopefully give you the answers. If we don't have the answers, we'll be sure to take your questions down and get back to you with a definitive answer. So let's get right into it. Who? Who are we? So we are made up of two head coaches. The first one being Tony Cesar. Tony Cesar is the coach and owner of Upper 90 up in the Cleveland area. Tony's been playing soccer for many years. I've actually played with Tony back in our youth soccer career. And Tony is just an amazing person, amazing coach. And you guys will absolutely love him, and your kids will love him as a coach. Tony has coached players all the way up into the professional level. So his credentials on being able to get the most out of children and players is astounding. The next coach is Gary Stoddard. Gary Stoddard is the director down at Madeira FC, which is a club based out of the Cincinnati area. Gary is also an ODP coach for the state of Ohio. Gary has just learned over the past few weeks that one of the girls that he used to coach actually just made the national team with ODP. So Gary has, again, a tremendous amount of credentials, and that's why I picked these two coaches to lead this team on the field. The kids are going to love it. They're going to learn a ton from both of these coaches, and they're just an amazing group of guys that I would love to surround myself with, and my kids to learn how to play the game of soccer. So who am I? My name is Dale Morella. I am going to be the administrator, so I'm going to do all the logistics behind the scenes. I played soccer again for many years as well, like I said, with Tony back in the day. But I am simply taking a sideline here, and I am just going to be on the sideline and enjoy the game. But I am putting the stuff together to get the kids onto the field. The last person that I do want to introduce here is Parker Cesar. So Parker is Tony's son. Parker plays professional soccer with the Cleveland Crunch. He used to play at Lomza out in Poland as well. He's going to come in as our assistant coach. We identified Parker as being a key person here because he's going to help bridge the gap between the players and Gary and Tony and myself. So Gary, Tony, and myself, we're kind of the old folks here. But having a player and a coach, professional player and a coach that are closer in age to the players that are actually going to be there it's going to give them that spark of wanting to be out there, wanting that excitement of being with a professional player, someone that can relate a little bit closer to them and where their situations are. So we believe Parker is going to be able to bring that, and Parker has a huge amount of enthusiasm, and we are just tremendously thrilled to have Parker here to help us out. So this is your team to help get these players onto the field for this summer. So, who is the State of Ohio Soccer Club? So, going through the past few years, I've learned a lot of things with youth soccer. And one of the things that I've learned is that I really want my kid to have experiences that last this lifetime. And, I remember, when I played soccer back in the day, I don't really recall many of the league games. I don't recall many of these like little teeny tiny tournaments. But what I do recall are the amazing tournaments. And it seems like a lot of clubs miss these tournaments for one reason or another. I won't go into it here today. And we want to bring that into the child's life. And so for me, there's been a couple tournaments that I just remember they are the gold standard of my career, and they're that pedestal experience, and that's what I'm trying here to give to these players. This is not to replace what they're doing with their host clubs. This is only supplemental. So within the triangle that you see here on the right of what we're doing here, and the categorizations of what we're establishing, the basis, the foundation is everyone, both players and coaches and parents, must be having fun. And we must enjoy what we're doing. Because if we're not doing this, then why are we even doing it? I could go ahead and put my son into gymnastics, but he hates gymnastics. So why would I even do it? It would make the rest of the pyramid tumble and crumble. So we want to make sure that kids are having fun. Parents are having fun and coaches are having fun. The next step is individual development. We want to make sure that these kids are developing individually. Are they getting the skills that they need? Are they getting the coaching that they need? Then we develop in the team development, because you cannot develop in the team unless you know the individual development. Again, the bottoms must happen in order for the upper part of the pyramid to occur. The last piece, the very last piece, and you see that I didn't put this as being the foundation, is winning. Winning is great, and that is ultimately why we do competition, but it's not the basics. The basics is the having fun. If you're not having fun, you will not win. If you're not doing individual development, you will not win. If you're not doing team development, you will not win. So this is all a building foundational structure to get to winning. So that's who we are, and that's what we stand for at the State of Ohio soccer team, soccer club here. So I'm going to take a second here and we're going to play a video here to give you guys a sample of what we're going to be doing this summer. Enjoy the film.
It's been great to see the 15,000 athletes compete in over 2,100 games over the past 9 days. In over 20
All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And so that is what we are going to be doing this year. We have identified the USA Cup up in Blaine, Minnesota from July 16th to 20th as being the crown jewel for 2024. So that is the big reveal for what we're going to do in 2024. So the USA Cup, a little bit of information here. As you saw on the video, it is huge. It is the largest youth soccer tournament in North America. Last year alone, over 1,200 teams competed from over 17 countries. You saw Mexico, you saw Italy, you saw Brazil, you saw Trinidad and Tobago, you saw Japan. Of course, the United States is represented there. There are Canada's in there. There are countries all over the place that come here. This is the world's game. Soccer is the world's game. Football is the world's game. Why not play the world? This is what this experience is all about. It's played at the National Sports Center. This is a very soccer specific area. They have their own stadium there. It is the complex is amazing. This started way back in 1985. I actually played in this tournament twice. You'll see my medals over there on the left hand side. We took second place in 1991. We took third place in 1990. Those are my medals that I received. It is the pinnacle. It is my podium of what I remember as a youth soccer player. It is just an experience that is unforgettable. There are college exposures over there. Most of the colleges are going to be in that Minnesota area, but and I'm not sure at this age colleges can't even talk to kids anyway. So, but there are these colleges are there. So if the players are good enough, colleges will find them. But I would just kind of see that as being an extra or a bonus. This this experience is just so much bigger and than anything that you've ever experienced. So, what are we going to do this year? So last year, what it was structured as there's a top bracket, a middle bracket, and a lower bracket. In every single one of those brackets, there are groups. So think of this as like the World Cup. So there's going to be groups of 4 teams. Every team's going to play every team in its group. So that's 3 games. Every team advances to the knockout stage. So you have the top 2 teams, just like the World Cup, would advance to the upper bracket knockout stage. So in the middle bracket, you would have an upper bracket knockout stage and a lower bracket knockout stage. In the top bracket, you would have an upper knockout and a lower knockout. In the lower bracket, you have an upper knockout and a lower knockout. So every bracket will have an upper and a lower knockout stage. Every team advances. Therefore, you play your 3 group stages and you get your 1 knockout stage game. So everyone's going to advance to the quarterfinals. Just because are you going to advance to the upper? Or are you going to advance to the lower? So everyone advances to that quarterfinals. Then you play the semis and then the finals. So you can play up to 6 games during this stretch of period. For our team, we are registered in the 2011 boys, so that's U13, 11v11, and we are registered in the middle bracket. So this is going to be similar to teams that are going to be playing in Ohio as upper NPL, ECNL, RL, or National League type level games, type teams. That's what I expect some of these to be. Maybe get into some of the lower level ECNL teams. These are not going to be similar to like the upper bracket would be more like your MLS Next type teams. These are going to be a little, just a bit step down, but the competition is still going to be right there with us. So, what does our timeline look like? We would expect that everyone arrives on July 15th. And July 16th, the morning or the afternoon, we're going to have our first game. Then in the evening is the opening ceremony. You saw that opening ceremony in the video. And in the opening ceremony, they have the fireworks, and all the teams are marched down to the field in Olympic style fashion. There is a torch lighting. It is just an event that is amazing. When we were there, we used to have this at the Hoover Humphrey Dome, and it was again an amazing experience. After that, there's a concert for everybody, for the kids and everything. The singers come out and perform, and then on the 17th we play our second game. That night we would be looking to do a club outing. So this is where we get the team together. We're going to go do some sort of bonding, whether we bring food back to the hotel or we go out and find somewhere to eat. Go do something. It's going to be really dependent. We'll talk to all the parents and see what works best. We're obviously not going to get everyone to have a complete 100% census on this thing, but we're going to find something that we want to make sure that we're together. On July 18th, we have our third game. Again, right now we're still in the group stages. At night, there's a dance party. These are just for the kids. Parents are not there, but these are just for the kids. There's 2 sets of dance parties, one for the older kids and one for the younger kids. These are for the younger kids. So it's just, going to be out there. They're going to play music and the kids are just going to have fun with all the other kids across the world are going to be there. Then on July 19th, this is when the quarterfinals start. So now you start your knockout stage. So you have the quarterfinals in the morning. Last year for U13, the semifinals for the upper bracket were in the evening. And then July 20th, the semifinals for the lower was in the morning. And the finals for the upper were in the morning. And then the afternoon had the lower finals. And then so on the 20th, then this is when we depart back to Ohio. So you're really looking at about 5 nights here. The best way to think about this. So sitting down, and Gary and Tony and I have had many, many conversations. And Tony brought this up one time, and I said, this is a perfect representation of what this is. The way to think about the USA Cup is not a soccer tournament, because it's not a soccer tournament. There's so much to do there. It's way beyond a soccer tournament. The best way to think about this is it's a camp. It's a soccer camp, but they just happen to have a tournament there, and we're just going to do the tournament. So this is something, when you're at the National Sports Complex, again, we talked about the opening ceremonies, we talked about the concert, we talked about the dance party. Uh, there's other things. We have these pin trading events. So if you played soccer back in the day, you remember the patches. Very, very similar. We're going to have pins, and the kids go and trade pins with all the teams across the world. They have a Nintendo game lounge with free ice cream for the kids. They have the expos. They have other competitions, juggling competitions. When I was there, they used to have where you would have an internal tournament, a tournament inside the tournament of a 3v3 tournament. So a couple of buddies of mine, we got together and say, hey, let's go do this other tournament. We would get together and go play this other little tournament while the tournament was going on. Now, again, not during our games, but we would go play this other tournament on our downtime against other teams across the country, in the world. That you have a chance to meet professional soccer players there from Minnesota United and other teams called the Minnesota United two, and I think there's also a women's team over there as well. They all come to this tournament and they meet the kids, and the kids just love it. There's a science lab, and of course you got the Adidas Superstore there. That's just the sports complex. And there's more than just this. These are just other things. Like you saw in the video, they have Zumba, and I think they have paintballing, stuff like that. All this stuff is over there outside the National Sports Center complex. They have a water park, amusement park, Mall of America. Minneapolis St. Paul is there. I've talked about Minnesota United. They got MLS games going on. They got WNBA games going on. The Major League Baseball games going on. So there are just countless things to do. And this is an event that we do not expect the kids to simply focus on the tournament. Yes, it's a big piece of it, but this is not something that we're going to set an agenda saying you cannot do this, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, and you have to make sure that you're completely 100% well rested to focus solely and 100% on the soccer, because that would be such a disservice to what this event really is. There's so much to do there. We encourage the boys and the families to go take advantage of a lot of the stuff over here, because that's what really builds that experience. So let's move on. Parents' role. What is the parents' role here in this whole thing? That's what you guys are here to do, and this is what we want you guys to do. The State of Ohio Soccer Club is a zero tolerance club, meaning we expect you to be a parent. We don't expect you to be the coach. We've got coaches. We don't expect you to be a ref. We got refs. You can become a ref and go ahead and ref games, but not while the kids are playing. You let the refs do their job. You let the coaches do their job, and we'll let you do your job. So what can you do? Cheer on the team. Cheer on the club. So how can you do that? Well, there's vuvuzelas. You've seen those annoying horns at the World Cup down in South Africa. Get those and start blowing on those. Cowbells. Everyone loves cowbells. We need more cowbell. Let's get some more cowbell going on. And also you could do chants. So when I did the USA Cup, this is the chants are the ones that I remember the most. Like you would go to other teams. We watched Cameroon play, and there were chants going on in African language, dancing, and it was just amazing to watch these and the spectators. And by the end of the tournament, not only was it the African Cameroonians doing these chants, but we would go to games and it would be four deep. So imagine going to your local, not a stadium, not like a high school stadium, a local field, and having it four deep with players from other teams watching, with parents and with other spectators watching another team play. And all of a sudden everyone started getting into the chants and of that other club. And it was just an amazing experience. So when we played, we had this one mom that spoke very little English. She was from Mexico, and her kid, obviously her kid's from Mexico. And she would just start chanting, arriba, arriba, andale, andale, anytime one of us got the ball and started running down the field. And I still remember to this day. And it just brings back such great memories. And those are the things that we remember. We don't remember. We don't want to hear our parents yelling at us and telling us, you're offsides, or go mark this person, or go mark that person, or pass the ball here. That's what we don't want to hear as a player. But what we do want to hear and what we do remember for the rest of our lives are those chants, those cowbells. Like that's the stuff that we want to see. So, a couple of things of ways to do this. I found this guy online. His name is Kyle Wilson. And every one of us, and he goes into this as well. Like every one of us wants our kids to be the best, and we even take it to some extremes. Like, how do I get my kid to be a professional athlete? All this stuff, and that's being that like 1% player and or a 3% player. And he talks about that, how to be a 1% player or a 3% player, how to get your kid to be that. What should you expect your kid to do to be that 1% player or the 3%, top 3% player. But he also takes the next step and says, how do I become that 3% parent? Because that's really what you want to be. So watch this video, and I'll have this PowerPoint deck. We'll go out to you. You guys will have all these links, but watch this video. The video content is outstanding. The the way that's presented is very bad. I will let you know that. It's not a very good presentation, but the content, focus on the content. He has actually, you can pay to get certified. I wouldn't recommend that. Just watch the video, learn about what you should be. And that is really the model parent that we're looking for. Because at the end of the day, you have to remember, which is the next line, this is not your time anymore. Our time came and went. We had our youth soccer career. We played in stuff. We had our youth baseball career, youth volleyball career, youth whatever career. We did our youth stuff. That's over. That's done. We are now focused on our kids' youth whatever. And so we want to make sure that they have it. We're not living vicariously through them. We're letting them experience it. So there will be repercussions if you start screaming and yelling at refs, if you're getting in fights with opposing parents, if you're screaming and yelling at your kid to move, to be in a different position, because Gary and Tony have a reason for why they're doing the things that they're doing. So let them do their job and let the coaches, let the referees do their job, and just be a parent. Enjoy the experience yourself, but don't focus solely on what your kid should be doing. But what should your kid be doing? Again, to twist that, remember this is your time, players. This isn't anyone else. This is not your parents' time. This is not Tony and Gary's time. This is not my time. This is your time. Have fun, embrace it, remember it. The things I like to tell my kid is, race. So respect the coaches, respect your teammates, respect the referees when you're out there. But most importantly, you have to respect your parents. They're the ones that spend all this money. They're the ones that have driven you over here. They're the ones that put their time and effort into getting you to where you need to be. Respect them. Arrive on time. Be ready to play. So when Tony and Gary tell you be there 30 minutes before, that does not mean show up 10 minutes before without your shin guards on, without your shoes on, without your jersey on. Show up at 30 minutes ready to go. You come to play. We're going to work hard. Absolutely. We want to try to win. Remember that the pyramid, the top of the pyramid. We want to win. It's not the first goal. The first goal is to come and have fun, but we are here to win. And we want to win. It's competition, and you don't go into competition with the expectation that you don't want to win, right? You always want to win, and that's even when you see the U5 and U6 kids, oh, we don't keep score. Yeah, they all do. I'm sorry, they do. So we're going to come here. We're going to work hard. We're going to come to play. But the other thing is that we're encouraged in all the kids and the families to participate in any USA Cup activity that you see that you want to do. Do it. Have fun. Enjoy. Just remember to keep those times stored away for the games. Like that's going to be the most important piece. It's the games. That's it. And then after those games, all that time's yours. Do what you want to do. The only thing that we have prohibited, alcohol and drugs. Obviously, kids are all under 21 on this team, and drugs are no bueno. So all that is prohibited. It will be an instant dismissal if we catch you with alcohol and or drugs. So how much money is this going to cost us? So here's the one thing that you guys are going to see very, very different than all of the clubs that you guys are part of. State of Ohio Soccer Club has no fees or dues. $0, nil, nada, nothing. Like there's nothing. I am not taking a penny of this. Gary's not taking a penny of this. Tony's not taking a penny of this. Parker's not taking a penny of this. We are not pocketing anything. So how do we handle this? Well, there's two types of costs here. We got sunk costs, we got variable costs. And the way we're going to do this is we're essentially, for the sunk costs, we're trying to sit and basically split up a shared community cost. And I'll go into that about how that works. The variable cost, this is really kind of up to you. And this can really change dramatically based upon how you guys want to handle your own variable cost. So sunk cost. Team registration, I have already paid this. This is $520. We are going to split this up equally with the players that are going to be on the team. So if there's 15 players, we're going to be roughly looking at about $35 per player. Player registration, that's $105 per player. USYS carding is $21 per player. Kits, we've talked and negotiated with a company, and they're going to provide us with kits for $65 per player. It's going to be a little bit less because that includes 15 players. But if we did 14 players and one goalie, the goalie kits are free. So again, the shared cost. That's the aspect that we're talking about. We'll take the total cost divided by 15 players. That's how much it's going to be. The kits are going to include one away kit, so shorts, shirt, socks. One home kit, short, shirt, socks. Two practice uniforms. Don't get excited. These are essentially just pennies, and a bag. And that's going to be $65. So this isn't the $500 kits that you guys are probably used to, or $400 kits that you're used to. They're $65 and includes all of that. The trading pins that we talked about, this is going to include 400 pins. We're looking at about $680, so roughly about $46 per player. And that gives each player 23 pins to go trade with other clubs. And this will kind of put together their little collection of pins that they'll take home as souvenirs. So the estimated sunk cost is about $300. Travel costs, these are the variable costs. So again, we talked about arriving on July 15th, departing on July 20th. So if we did that, we're looking at about 5 nights. We're looking at hotels. What we're looking at for hotels is underneath $200 a night. We want a pool, so that gives the kids something to do. We want free breakfast, so the parents aren't going out and spending $30, $40, $50 on breakfast every single day. We want kitchenettes, so then the kitchenette can provide dinners in the evenings if parents do not want to go out to dinner. So we got that ability that you can cook in. So all of that, about underneath $200, 5 nights, about $1,000. That's going to be your big cost. Gas cost. I use this going from Columbus. I'm planning on driving 770 miles. 23 miles per gallon. Now, granted, my car gets nowhere near 23 miles per gallon. We're about half that, but I use the average. And I know gas has gone up and down. February, when I put this together, it was about 3.25. So that gives me an average total cost round trip for gas about 160 bucks. Food, I look at this is a family of 6. I can feed my family for about 100 bucks a day. And again, no breakfast. I just need to pay for lunch and dinner, and I can do about 100 bucks a day. That's typically what we do when we travel. Some families might be more, some families might be less, but that's typically what we have. So this again is about $1,700. So $1,700 plus the $300, we're roughly about $2,000. You can really be underneath $2,000 if you wanted to. However, here's some things you need to consider. State of Ohio Soccer Club, we are a nonprofit. We got our nonprofit status through fiscal sponsorship with Hat Club. That's the logo that you see over here. It looks like a little house. We are looking to talk with local, state, national, regional companies to help us out with some of these sunk costs. I am in current conversations with several companies I'm not going to mention here, but if we can get $4,000 would cover all the sunk costs for one team. And there would be certain things that we would have to do. Like we were going to put the sponsor on all our gear. So think about it like when you look at teams from Europe, they have the sponsor right across the front of the jerseys. We would do that. We would fly their flag during our games. We would carry their flag out in the opening ceremonies, things like that. Another thing that we can do, Benevity. I work for Cigna. Cigna has a program where they do corporate matching. So if I give through the Benevity program $500, Cigna gives $500. So it's a way that I can almost cut my costs by 50%. Because if something costs me, $200, I can donate through Benevity to the State of Ohio Soccer Club $200, and Cigna would donate another $200, and that would actually get me $400 to my name. So if I owe $200, I could donate $100, and I get $200 there. Just keep in mind that Hack Club does take 7%, so we'd have to build that in. So if that's something that you have with your company, reach out to me and we can talk about how to make that work for you. Fundraising. We can look at doing things like Raise Right. Raise Right is where you would buy a gift card for something that you do all the time. So like say going to Kroger or going to Giant Eagle, and you buy the gift card through Raise Right. Well, 4% of that gift card, so you buy a $100 gift card, 4% of that, $4, goes into your account that you're raising money that you can put towards this. So it's things that you do every day. So going to Kroger, going to Walmart, going shopping at Giant Eagle, going out to dinner. So you can buy all these gift cards and you get the proceeds goes right to your account. We can do things like Chick-fil-A or Chipotle or Qdoba type days where we would get like 10% of proceeds for like an hour while we're there. We can do car washes. We can go out and sell chocolates like we used to do back in the day, door-to-door chocolate sales. We can figure out things that we'd want to do to bring our costs down. And we'll talk with everybody once we get things going, what's going to work best for fundraising. To keep costs down as we go on up there, you guys can talk about carpooling. So if you know another family that's going, carpool them up there. Share that cost with gas. And then also we can look at parent chaperone. So if you want your kid to experience this, but you just can't afford to get them up there, let's look at parent chaperone options. Obviously there'll be some cost there. You got your sunk cost, and there might be some variable cost, but it's going to be a lot less. So we can talk about doing parent chaperoning. Another opportunity, which I've mentioned before, referee. $65 get you your referee's license. You'll more than make that up at the USA Cup with as many games and teams that they have up there. So you can always referee. I will be up there refereeing, just to make that clear. Other things that you need to consider when you're budgeting. So again, for $2,000, did not take into consideration souvenirs, didn't take into consideration going to MLS games, Mall of America, things like that. I'm feeding a family of 6. You may feeding a family of 2. I'm going to drive. You might fly. So again, there's lots of variables in here that can adjust the cost of budgeting that you need to consider when you're going up there. So keep this all in mind when you're making this your own budget to make this happen. So what are the next steps? So we are targeting to have a roster of 14 to 16 players. Not looking to get to 20 something players. We want to make sure 14, 16, we figure that's a good number, that all the kids are going to get a lot of playing time. They're going to be exhausted when this whole event is done, but they're not going to be overly exhausted. We have enough subs to basically keep the rotation going, because this is in July. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid, but 14 to 16 is really our sweet spot. So what happens if we have less than 14? Well, there's a pool up at USA Cup that we can pull from. So if you want to go play at USA Cup, but you don't have a team, you can enter yourself into the pool, and teams that need players can go into that pool, reach into it, and pull players out to have them come play on their team. We can also explore other soccer clubs within Ohio or the surrounding area. So we've really only looked at about 3 clubs right now. We can start looking at other clubs, and we will start looking at other clubs if we don't have the 14 that we're looking at. So what happens if we have more than 16? Well, if we have 16 to 25, then we have some really, really, really hard decisions to make. We'll probably have to start turning people away. We don't want this to happen, but this is an option that we may have to execute on. How are we going to do this? Well, it's going to be needs. Again, if I have 15 midfielders, I don't need 15 midfielders. So we'll have to kind of cut there. And also quality. And this isn't just quality of the player, of their skills. Like, it's going to be quality. Like, do they have a good attitude? How's the parents? The parents have a good attitude. Are the parents constantly getting kicked out of games? I'm sure none of the parents that have been submitted to participate in State of Ohio Cup is part of that. But we want to make sure that we do have that good quality set of parents. There are parents that we just didn't invite here because of that. Like, we want to make sure that this is going to be a good quality entertainment for everybody around. We want this to be a good experience. So we want to make sure that the quality is there. And again, not just parent quality or player quality, but the entire package. What happens if we get 25 or more players? This would be just an amazing situation to deal with, where we would actually look to have 2 teams. We'd have an A team and a B team. And this is not to say a top team and a bottom team. This is to say 2 teams. These 2 teams may be in the exact same middle bracket. We don't know. We'd have to kind of figure it out, see what we got, and we'll make decisions. Maybe you have 1 in the upper bracket, 1 in the lower bracket. Maybe you have 2 in the middle, maybe 1 in the middle, 1 lower. You don't know. We would kind of put things together and see what we got and go from there. So these are where we go. So right now, we have over 25 families interested with just the 3 clubs that we reached out to. So if you're looking to commit for player selection, just simply email me at stateofohiosc@gmail.com. The committing families will start to receive, and we'll get through this. I know that some families have already started committing. Thank you very much. We've got already a pretty good set within the team. We're going to start going through that and start figuring out getting the USA Cup registration going. The carding, we're probably going to wait for a while on the carding, because this is going to be USYS carding. I know some clubs are more involved with USYS than others. There's USYS and there's US Club. The US Club is going to be fairly easy. We can start carding that pretty simply. That's going to be mostly, from my belief, and I'd have to talk with Tony on this, mostly the upper 90. For USYS, it's going to, the Club Ohio and Madeira FC are going to mostly be following this. This is going to be more of a timing issue because we want to make sure that we do the carding appropriately so we do not jeopardize their standings with their current clubs. So then they can go ahead and participate in their state cups or however far they advance through their state cups into June. So there's going to be a timing issue that we're working out, and we'll figure it out and we'll get there. One other thing that we're going to do here is we're going to have a camp. This is going to be centrally located. We talked about having one up in Cleveland, one in Cincinnati, one in Columbus, but we thought, hey, if it's in Cleveland, then all these people out of Cincinnati have to drive all the way to Cleveland. If we have one in Cincinnati, then all people from Cleveland need to drive all the way down to Cincinnati. So we thought, let's just do it in Columbus, so then this way we're kind of meeting in the middle. Obviously, I'm not going to argue with that because I'm located near Columbus. So we're going to look at a Saturday and or Sunday training day or days. The goal is if we can knock this out in one day, this is what we're going to try to do. Like have it on a Saturday, do a morning session, take like the afternoon off, and then have like a late afternoon session, early evening session. So think maybe like a 9 o'clock session or something like that. Again, I'm spitballing here. A 9 o'clock session to 11, take from 11 to 3 off, and then go back from like 3 to 5 or something to that effect. Again, we'll figure this all out soon. This way, the idea with this is that when the kids show up in Minnesota, they're not showing up shaking hands and introducing themselves. They get to know some of the players while they're here. And then during that middle time period, this is not going to be something that we're just going to turn you guys loose and say, go do what you guys got to do and figure it out. No, no. What we're going to do is you're going to come over to my house and we're going to have a little social event. We'll get some food. We'll have some, drinks and stuff like that because to be honest, I want to know who the parents are too, because I'm going to spend a week with you guys and I want to know who you guys are. I want to shake your hands, introduce myself, let the kids play. We have a big half-acre pond. The kids can go swimming in the pond. We got trampolines. We got a soccer field. The kids can play. They always find something to do around our house. And then the parents can sit down. We'll crack open a beer or a glass of wine, and we'll just sit down, relax, and just get to know each other. And you'll make new friends. They'll make new friends. And this is really social. And the thing is, this is not just players. Bring the family. Let the families come down here. We'll get to sell hot dogs or hamburgers or something like that. Throw them on the grill. Everybody's invited. This is no extra fee, no extra cost. So we're going to figure this out and really kind of get something that's like a nice like team building activity. The locations we're thinking either New Albany, like Bevelheimer Park, or Gahanna. There's a field down in Gahanna that's a turf field that they just put in, very affordable. That we're looking at that as well. So Bevelheimer Park, the fields are just amazing. They're outstanding fields. So either option is going to work really really well. We'll figure it out, and all this information will be coming soon. Some useful links that I'm including here on the PowerPoint deck that you guys will all have access is the website. So our State of Ohio Soccer website. You'll notice that this is kind of a wonky name. I did that on purpose because if I had to pay for a domain, that means I have to pass the cost on to everybody. And I want to make this as inexpensive as possible. So I made a website. Obviously, it's a little wonky. Facebook is always free. So I put a Facebook page in there. Follow us. You can see some information on here that I'm always posting to keep everyone informed, as much as I can. Donations, if you want to donate to the State of Ohio Soccer Club, or if you know someone that wants to donate to start raising money, donate here. That's through Hack Club, but again, it's all tax deductible. I also include the USYS Ohio. This is where we're going to be carding through. I included USA Cup, their link, the activity guide. So when you noticed all the activities that I showed at USA Cup and beyond the National Sports Complex, that's where I got this from. So this is the 2023 one. The 2024 one will probably start coming out in May or June. And then the trailer that we all watched, that's this one. There's another one that's 2023. You can always do a search for it and you can find it. It's not as long. It's not as in depth. It doesn't get it's not as well done. I like the 2022 one better. That's why I showed that one to you guys. So these are some very, very helpful links. You can always find more information as well as you start digging around. So with that being said, I'm going to pause here and we're going to go ahead and take some questions, and I'll get as many questions as I can answered. And if not, we'll bring those. If I can't get those answers to you, I'll take those questions away and I'll absolutely get back to everyone with those answers. So with that, this concludes the State of Ohio parent Q&A session. I hope everyone has learned a lot. I hope everyone has become educated. Again, we're looking for you to make decisions based upon what's best for you and your family. This is not something that you have to do. If this goes successfully, we hope to be around for many years to come, and hope to expand this. We have future goals that go beyond USA Cup, that go beyond the borders of Ohio, Minnesota, and the United States. Like, so we hope to bring this to a fruition, that this becomes an annual event, to give those experiences to these players. That's what this is all about. So stick with us. If you can't make it happen this year, that's okay. If you can make it happen this year, please send me that email. Let's get you on that board. Let's get you moving and let's get this thing going. But I hope you guys are now educated to make those decisions that you need to make. I hope we've been transparent with both what we're doing, who we are, how much this is going to cost you. We want to make sure that we are 100% transparent as we possibly can be. So then you guys can make the decision. The power is in your hand. This is really a group effort to make this happen. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for attending. We really hope to see you guys this summer. And, you know, thank you. And, again, to quote what they had with USA Cup, the world will be there. Where will we be? So that's what we want to get. So thank you again, everyone. Have a great night, and we will talk soon.